Chungus here, coming at you with another tip video for Apex. This one is going to involve regarding bullet speed. Now, not all weapons shoot at the same bullet speed, despite weapons sharing the same bullet type. So, although the R99 and the R301 use the light type magazines, or you have the Havocs and you have your Volts all using energy ammo, um, they're necessarily the bullet speed for each of those is going to be different for each weapon. Now, in addition to that, bullet speed, what can it do? It can impact your aim in addition to the recoil. Now, I did make another video regarding the recoil and how to combat that recoil in my other, and how to combat that using in firing range. Now, another thing you can use, what great about the bullet speed is that it impacts what you're aiming at and how fast they're going. The target either moving like with a zip line, or the target is falling down, or the target's just basically running very fast. Now, at a close range, it's pretty easy to hit them right on the marker. If you hit them there, they're going to be right on the marker, depending on how close you are. But if you're further away, let's say if they were going around this zip line or they were falling from this mountain, your bullet speed is going to greatly determine if you hit your mark or not. Now, depending on how far you are, will determine how far you need to aim in order to shoot them. Because the golden rule of shooting your opponents while they're moving is to not shoot them where they are right now, but to shoot them where they're going to be. Now, you're asking yourself, how far in front of the target should I shoot? Now, there's a couple of factors there. First, I've already told you, distance is a great factor. So if I were to shoot this, distance would be a factor in determining where you need to shoot that. Now, the other factor is the weapon you're using. So, for example, the Devotion or the Prowler or any of them, they all have different bullet speeds. So for the Prowler is one of the slowest bullets at 18,000. Now, the units of measurement that Respawn uses, I'm not quite sure, but they're in the thousands. So, for example, Prowler is at about an 18,000, as opposed to a Devotion, which is at 33.5. So it's a lot faster than the Prowler. Now, the difference, it's not really easy seen with the naked eye, unless you have like the bruiser. So the bruiser, you can see it. So when you shoot, you can see that how the bullets travel from the actual marker. So if I'm starting to move, I mean, I'm pretty close to this target as it is. I'm like less than 100 meters. But if you're like in 200 or a little further, then it'll greatly impact. Now, with the Prowler, with the Devotion, it's a pretty fast one. So it's a pretty fast bullet. So the bullet difference between where you're aiming and where you're shooting is going to be very small. But for the Prowler, you see how the bullets are coming from the left and the right. They're not really on the target. Either the target's moving, or as I'm moving. So you need to aim depending on where your target is. Again, I'm within 100 meters. It's not that difficult. Getting there. See how those things left and right change? It's because of how slow the bullets are. Now, this impacts pretty much all the weapons. I couldn't get the stats on all the weapons, but for most of the weapons, like the R99, the G7, Spitfire, all have weapon speeds. So what you need to pay attention to is the weapon that you're using, how far in front of the target you need to shoot. So again, with the Devotion, you don't have to shoot too far because the bullet's so fast that it can reach your target in a reasonable amount of time. Again, that's if you're in a reasonable range. So if I'm like within 100 meters, it's a lot easier. This target's going a lot slower. Wish they had targets that go around zip lines. But if you again further away, you're going to need to go. You're going to need to buffer that with more. You're going to be in front of the target a lot more. All the way up here. So it's pretty close to the belt of your aim. But when you're doing this, see how it goes left and right is because kind of see that. I mean, although you're not really going to shoot, I don't know if you're going to do much long range with a prowler at this. So when you're doing with with machine gun like the R99, or you're doing it with the prowler, it's not. You're going to mostly be in close or mid range combat, and it's not going to help it that much, unless you're doing zip lines or they're falling. Then you might. But with devotions, or with another one that has the same kind of speed, is the Havoc's pretty close. The G7 Scout is pretty much on par with the devotion. They're so fast that you don't have to trail your target if you're at a certain distance. You can pay more close attention to how far you are rather than the bullet speed and how far. So that's all I have. Thanks for watching.